Okay, it was just toll records. That's what Jack Smith said. Correct. And DOJ documents say his team grabbed the text messages of 44 lawmakers. So stop right there. That is the smoking gun. Jim Jordan just shoved this into the DOJ, and the man who hunted Trump is suddenly the one cornered. And wait till you hear the part about Scott Perry's own phone. We're talking about 44 members of Congress had text message content pulled into Jack Smith's probe. Think about that. It wasn't some narrow paperwork scrape. Smith's team ran through the Biden-Harris DOJ Arctic Frost operation, slapped on gag orders, seized Scott Perry's phone, and captured a full image of its contents. And then Smith sat under oath in December of 2025 and said the records did not include text content. You and I both know what that is. If Todd Blanche lets a federal hitman dodge this, then every patriot in the country stays in the crosshairs of a rogue bureaucracy. Jack Smith's days are numbered. You see, Jack Smith's crowd counted on Americans missing what was crawling under the surface. And it reminds me of a case where a man had a worm moving inside his eye after eating uncooked fish. Parasite purge hits that hidden danger head on. You see, the World Health Organization warns of parasitic infection prevalence with 1 in 2 affected, and it can show up as brain fog, chronic fatigue, pain that won't go away, IBS-like symptoms, even severe chronic conditions. My friend Jonathan Otto built a typical cleanse alternative. It's a full-spectrum parasite elimination protocol with a science-backed parasite formula, including red and near-infrared light therapy and free bonuses like the 10-day intensive parasite detox protocol to prepare your body. Support the cleansing process and maximize your results. Go to purgemyparasitesnow.com. Use code NNN45 to save 45% for a limited time. Don't ignore what is hiding beneath the surface. So it was July 22nd, 2026. Jim Jordan's letter cites 18 U.S.C. 1001 by name. Oh, that's not a cable news food fight. That is a criminal referral with a statute attached, and CNN is still playing word games about a half-truth. A half-truth? A half-truth is still a lie. See, they're not defending the spying. They are defending the lie, and we're going to get into the receipts right now. House Judiciary refers Jack Smith to the DOJ for possible criminal prosecution. And we're learning now that the DOJ has, in fact, launched that investigation. Let's check in with Allison Steinberg of Lindell TV with the details, and then we're going to get to Jack Smith's own words.
Will say the House has gotten quite a bit done this week, which is good. But then again, you have to consider they are going on recess for the next 6 weeks or so, and they leave today. So this was their final day in session, and they wrapped up getting quite a bit done, like I said. So we'll just go through everything that was accomplished, and there is quite a bit to unpack here. So let's dive in. First off, the House Judiciary Committee referred former Special Counsel Jack Smith to the Department of Justice for criminal prosecution after Smith seemingly and willfully and intentionally made false statements during his December 17th, 2025 deposition. The main dispute here is they are saying Smith's team got phone records and apparently text messages from many members of Congress as part of their investigation into Trump's action after the 2020 election. In his testimony, Smith said his team only got basic records, just, who called him, no actual message content. But Republicans are now saying new documents show Smith's team did actually get the full text messages through other subpoenas. So they believe he misled Congress, which is obviously a crime. So what happens next? Well, this is just a referral, like I said. Ultimately, the DOJ is going to decide whether or not to open a real investigation and actually bring those charges. And then, of course, Smith's side in response is calling these accusations baseless, ultimately. So this will be an ongoing situation, but good on House Republicans for getting that done today in the 11th hour. That's a good way to leave the recess. So let's hope the DOJ steps in and does their part here. Though I don't know if I'm hopeful because they failed to act on Anthony Fauci for also lying to Congress, which there is another hearing with him this next week. The Senate is in session for 1 week longer than the House before they go off to August recess. And Rand Paul is bringing Anthony Fauci in for a hearing on Wednesday, July 29th. So,
and we're looking forward to that. So, the first part laid out the referral. Now, here's the paper trail. Jim Jordan's letter says Jack Smith may have lied under oath after DOJ documents showed his team got far more than basic call logs. This is directly from the House Judiciary GOP. Jim Jordan referring the former Special Counsel Jack Smith to the Department of Justice for criminal prosecution. The evidence appears to show Jack Smith knowingly made false statements while testifying under oath before the committee. And here are the receipts for you directly to the Honorable Todd Blanche, Acting Attorney General. We refer strong evidence that appears to show Jack Smith, former special counsel, knowingly made false statements during his December 17, 2025 deposition. While testifying under oath, Mr. Smith seemingly made willfully and intentionally false statements of material fact that contradict new documents obtained by the committee from the Department of Justice. The committee is providing this information for the DOJ to investigate a potential violation of 18 U.S.C. 1001. So that is the official letter. But the next clip zeroes in on the key exchange. Catherine Herridge breaks down the difference between toll records and text content, and that's the distinction that could put Smith in real trouble behind bars, where we'd love to see him. The key section, strong evidence appears to show Smith knowingly made false statements about obtaining the content of 44 lawmakers' text message. Question, okay, was it just toll records? Smith's answer, correct. Well, toll records contain metadata, numbers, call date, time length of a call, but not content. Smith was silent on his workaround through the National Archives and apparent bypassing his filter team to review the actual text messages. So she shows the alleged word game. Next, Eric Darty brings the Fox coverage on how House Republicans are framing as straight up perjury before Congress.
Special Counsel Jack Smith hit with a criminal referral. House Judiciary Committee Republicans now accuse him of misleading Congress during sworn testimony under oath when he claimed he did not obtain or review lawmakers' text messages during his multiple investigations into President Trump. So that's where we start.
And that is only the beginning. The accusation is now front and center. Smith told Congress one thing while the committee says the records show another. Next, Fox reports the DOJ is already reviewing potential charges.
The House Judiciary Committee and Chairman Jim Jordan are asking the DOJ to investigate whether former special counsel to President Biden, Jack Smith, should be criminally charged with lying to Congress. Listen.
When you ask the special counsel handpicked by the Garland Biden Justice Department to go after President Trump, Mr. Jack Smith, Mr. Prosecutor, worked at the Hague, all this, when you ask him, did you get contents of members of Congress's communications, and he says no, that is not telling the truth, because in fact he did. We think it's pretty darn clear from his deposition, from his public testimony, that he misled Congress, and 18 U.S.C. 1001 says you cannot do that. That's why we referred him.
Justice correspondent David Spunt has all the details from Washington.
So the tables are turning, and now we're at the consequence stage. DOJ looking into possible charges. Next report shows the Swamp's defense line with Jamie Raskin and Smith's lawyers scrambling to argue he was only asked about toll records.
Is officially looking into potential charges, but to be clear, Jack Smith has not been charged. House Judiciary Chairman Jordan said that Smith knowingly made those false statements to Congress during that December 17, 2025 deposition before Congress. He admitted during his investigation into President Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election that his team collected toll records, what notably more than 40 members of Congress. Now, toll records, Jillian, include time, dates, and lengths of phone calls, but not the specific content of calls or text messages. However, he did receive text messages of lawmakers who texted with Trump White House aides in 2020 as their communications were part of the Presidential Records Act. But Smith says he wasn't asked about the Presidential Records Act specifically. He was asked about toll records. House Democrats, led by Congressman Jamie Raskin in the Judiciary Committee, put out a scathing statement insisting that Smith did nothing wrong. wrong. He says in part, it seems Republican members of Congress are lashing out because they just realized their communications with the White House became presidential records preserved at the National Archives as required by the Presidential Records Act. This referral deliberately distorts and misstates the facts, including what questions the Republicans actually asked at Mr. Smith's interview. Now, in a letter obtained by Fox News...
Word games. So you heard the excuse from Raskin and Smith's team. Next, CNN goes even further, trying to sell the viewers on the idea that a half-truth isn't really a lie. CNN doing damage control.
Caitlin Polantz, she's been examining the details here. Caitlin, do they have evidence of criminal conduct?
Jim, there is a piece of testimony that Jack Smith gave where if you read sentence by sentence, word by word, he answers truthfully. But Congress, and specifically Jim Jordan on the House Judiciary Committee, they are accusing Jack Smith of potentially making a false statement there because he wasn't forthcoming enough, because he gave a, quote, half-truth. And they want the Justice Department to look and see at whether that could qualify as a false statement charge. Now, just to take a step back, the Trump administration and the Justice Department, we know, have wanted to potentially find something to investigate Jack Smith on. They've wanted to scrutinize his work as special counsel when he prosecuted Donald Trump for January 6th and in the Mar-a-Lago case. They've really wanted to bear down on this. And so this is how Jim Jordan serves that up to the Justice Department. What happens next, still a question, but the allegation here from Jim Jordan, it is that Smith specifically would have made a false statement or given a half-truth when he said that he wasn't seeing or seeking the content of text messages of members of Congress. The members of Congress are quite angry that the special counsel's office did see text messages between members of Congress and White House officials when they got access to White House official phones from the National Archives after people left the Trump administration. But what Smith was actually asked about during his deposition in December, he was asked of whether he was seeking search warrants for content.
Okay, we get it. CNN doing damage control. They can play lawyer for Smith all day, but members caught up in this dragnet aren't buying it. Senator Rand Paul saying new evidence shows Smith spied on dozens of lawmakers, including him. December 2025, Jack Smith swore under oath that he didn't spy on text messages belonging to members of Congress. Today, new evidence confirms he spied on dozens of members of Congress, myself included. This is a blatant abuse of power and exactly what our founders warned about, and he posted this clip.
Did the toll records that you requested from the senators, did they include the content of the phone calls?
No.
Did the records that you requested, the toll records from the members of Congress, include the content of text messages?
No.
Can you explain for us on the record?
So Rand Paul makes it personal. He says he was one of the lawmakers targeted. Next, President Trump weighs in. The only way Trump can, calling Jack Smith exactly what millions of Americans already think he is. We'll take you back to 2024. President Trump going after Special Counsel Jack Smith.
Deranged Jack Smith. And I watched him yesterday go up and talk. He talked for about 2.5 minutes. He was shaking. He was so scared. He didn't want to be there. Because ultimately, these are cowards. They're cowards. And he's a big Trump hater. Openly, he's a Trump hater. And his wife is even more of a Trump hater. I wish her a lot of luck, but he's a bad Trump hater and she's a Trump hater.
So Trump not just blasting Smith, didn't just blast him from the stage. Next, we go to the Oval Office where he signs an order targeting the lawyers and operatives who back Smith's anti-Trump crusade.
This is a good one. Is everybody listening? Deranged Jack Smith. We're going to call it the Deranged Jack Smith signing or bill. Go ahead.
One law firm that provided pro bono legal services to the special counsel's office under Jack Smith's leadership was Covington and Burling. As a result of those actions, we're now going to be suspending and putting under review the security clearances for the attorneys and employees at that firm who worked with Jack Smith's team. And we're going to continue holding the people who were responsible for the weaponization of government who supported it accountable for what they did.
And you'll be doing this with other firms as time goes by, right?
We're looking at sort of the whole panoply of options there.
The weaponization of our system by law firms even pro bono work they're doing just in order to clog up government, stop government. And nobody knows about it more than me. And hopefully that'll happen again.
So the Covington and Burlington, is that the...
Covington and Burlington.
Okay.
So Rand Paul said, new evidence confirms that he spied on dozens of members of Congress, myself included. After Jack Smith swore he did not grab lawmakers' text message content, and that one collision of facts blows the whole operation wide open because Jack Smith did not chase justice. Jack Smith ran a political surveillance machine for the Biden-Harris lawfare crowd, got caught under oath, and now the hunter finally feels the trap snapping shut. So Todd Blanche needs to move on Jack Smith now and not hide behind process. Jim Jordan handed DOJ a referral with strong evidence that Smith knowingly made false statements. And you just watch the key exchange yourself. It was just toll records, correct. Then the paper trail hits. 44 lawmakers' text messages, Arctic frost, gag orders, Scott Berry's phone imaged top to bottom. That's not a bad memory. That is a busted cover story. So I want your take in the comments. Should Blanche charge Smith if the facts hold? And how far up this lawfare chain should this go? And share this with one person who still thinks that Jack Smith was just some noble prosecutor. President Trump called this man deranged long before the media cracked. And once again, Trump was right. And Jack Smith's 44 lawmaker text grab is exactly the kind of story the gatekeepers choke on. So text White House to the number on the screen, 844-840-4963. Next News Network. We are credentialed inside the White House. Our nightly insider reports hit your phone straight from the building before YouTube buries them under the algorithm.